Hey guys, welcome to lesson 6, which is, as you can see, waves, which is very important. If not one of the most important lessons if you want to climb to master, if you want to climb to challenger. Without understanding these things, you will not get anywhere. This is honestly the most important lesson with tracking jungle, so make sure to pay close attention and I'm going to explain everything, and hopefully after the lesson you'll be learning these things. Which is gank conditions, type of wave states, type of lanes, and that's all, okay? So I'll give you guys good examples, okay? So first of all, you have to ask yourself, what are waves actually? That's the core question. Like, what does waves actually mean for a jungler, okay? You should ask yourself that first. And answer is, waves are a tool for you to know when the enemy is vulnerable and when your team is vulnerable. It's not just how you can gank the enemy, it's as well how your lanes can get ganked, okay? And all of this information can be compiled. So, if you know if your lane is going to get ganked or not, well, you have to know where the enemy jungle is, right? And if you know where the enemy jungle is, and you look at if your lane waves, you should probably know if they can get ganked or not. Am I right? Same for the enemy waves. If the enemy wave is bad, and let's say enemy jungle is pathing top side, you're pathing bot, their bot wave is shit, well, guess what? They're gankable, right? But before they're gankable, you need certain conditions, which is a slow push, neutral, or is the bounce? Like, what type of wave is it? What lanes do you have? Do you have lanes with CC or you have no CC? So let's go into the examples, okay? Hopefully you see my screen right now. Okay. So, perfect. You see my screen, okay? So there's a few wave states. We start with number 1, okay? Which is the slow push. This is what I call a slow push. So slow push happens when a wave is always crashing under your tower. So I'm playing Rex here, okay? I see this big fat wave. Always, if the next wave, which is this wave here, connects with this wave on the tower and it's really close here, it's always going to be slow push because minions are going to be coming faster and they can stack. Okay? So as you can see, this is a slow push, okay? So you might wonder, like, okay, Kira, hey, it's a slow push, but when I see this, what am I supposed to think? Okay, this is very important. A lot of people look at the waves, okay, I see bottom wave, I see mid lane wave, I see top lane wave. Okay, sure. But what information should you be getting? So, how I perceive information, okay? When a wave crashes like this, I know that if enemy team is last hitting and they don't touch the wave, my AD carry's wave is going to be here at some point, okay? Not the next wave, but a wave after, depending on how fast they push. The faster my Ezra pushes, the worse it's going to get. So let's say my Ezra pushes really fast, okay? Let's say this wave starts pushing a bit faster. His wave is going to be already here when that wave is coming, okay? Let's say his last hitting only, it's not going to be this wave, it'll be the next wave, okay? So just pay attention. If he only last hits, okay, he's now pushing faster, you see? But him pushing faster here, his wave is going to be here. You see? It's going to be a bit worse. Boom. So imagine it's not Ezreal, okay? It's a Kaisa, whatever. This guy wants to stand here to last hit. So imagine there's no wards here, he's going to die to a gank if enemy is like a Rek'Sai or whatever, right? And that's what you have to understand. When are you needed on a wave and when are you not needed? Because right here, okay? He decided to fast push. I mean, maybe because he saw everyone going topside, so he's like, okay, let's make sure my wave is fine, right? But imagine start to last hit. His wave would be like probably around here, right? Then he will be completely fine, he won't need my help, okay? So as a jungler, what does it mean for you? Well, that means that for you, let's say the moment I decide to go for a top lane gank, okay? And let's say that my bot is laning, and I know that enemy jungle is bot side. Guess what? This guy, whether he hard push, slow push, is gonna need my help at some point. If the enemy jungler is bot side, right? So by you knowing that, okay, for everything from back before, when a wave like this means it's a slow push, which means that at some point, your laning's wave is gonna be bad, and that if enemy jungler is bot side, and if they don't have, let's say, a ward, they are gonna die. So you as a jungler have to keep in mind, okay, maybe I should cover them, or maybe not. If enemy junglers are on bot side, you might have to reconsider just standing behind them a little bit, sometimes. And make sure they just crash the wave, because if laners are freezing the wave here, okay, what's going to happen is that they can't farm, okay? But in this case, we're going top side, so it's like, it doesn't matter. But this is like a slow push, and I'll give you guys a really good example, okay? Regarding the waves. Okay, so right here. It's early game, okay? So this is my first pathing. Before the game, I knew that my win condition is bot. I know that if Ezreal falls behind against Caster, can't be open. Here, I was looking at top lane wave. I don't know where the Device started. Here I made a mistake. I did ward level 1, so I do not know where he started, but I know he's probably going to be pathing towards bot side. Very likely, okay? Like here I was thinking, okay, I'm going to dive enemy top laner because he sees his wave. He's a big fat slow push, and he's low. I could take Raptors and dive enemy top laner here. But here, I saw that enemy bot lane has a slow push, and that they don't have wave control anymore because they fucked up their trade. So I decided to cover for them here because, well, if Vi happens to have bot side, my bot lane is going to get dove. So I was thinking already, they want to get a top lane kill, or they want to save my bot lane and not make them lose 3 waves. And my answer was clear, which is that I don't want my bot lane to get dove because I'm sure they can dive in bot lane if they wanted to. Right? And, I mean, the enemy, if I happen to show here, but imagine I went for the top lane play here and killed him, and my bot lane would die here. Would that be worth it? In my opinion, no. And all of this information comes from reading the waves, right? So, this is like a basic slow push. So as a jungler, you will know as well that when a wave's like this, I'll give you a better example later, but I hope you guys get the point where if my laner decides to hard push, his waves are going to be faster, bad. If he slow pushes, you have approximately 1 minute, okay? So just pay attention to the timer. Now it's 7 minutes, okay? 7 minutes, that wave is flying in, it's like 7:30. If you didn't hard push, wave will be here. Then the next wave that will be coming, I would have to be on that wave to cover him. His wave will probably be around here. And if I'm not behind him, and let's say the pink ward here, and enemy jungler's bot side, and I'm top side, they will die. As a jungler, like, oh, I picked them to play safe. But here's the thing. Laners are not gonna play safe when the wave is shit, even if they know enemy jungler's around. I can guarantee you that. Unless they have like full control, sure they're gonna play safe, but if they don't have full control, and they know enemy jungler's bot side, you will need to be there to cover for them. Okay? Remember that. So here, for example, I decided to go bot side to cover, right? Okay, so that is like a slow push, okay? So slow pushes you can usually use for whether it's dives, control, or Drake, okay? Or just making sure your laner is fine. So usually I'll need to find a better example for that, but let's say we have a slow push here, okay? And I decide to use slow push for the Drake because you're stronger, you can do that. You decide to use slow push for the invade, you can do that. You decide to use a slow push for them to just get a good base, you can do that as well. But make sure they just don't die and think about how you use your resources, okay? That's the most important thing as a jungler. So, this is a really good example on top lane, okay? So you see the enemy GP this time crashes wave. See? This is a slow push. So, and one thing by the way, usually I cover on slow pushes. So let's say here now slow push towards enemy, usually I cover. However, when let's say the wave is staying really long at the tower, okay? And GP, let's say, has to stand here to farm. Even if it's ward in the river, by the way, I can tell you that that ward in the river is not going to save him, because the moment, let's say, there's a ward here, you walk like here, and he's like there, he's going to be dead. Like, you see, like, I'm here and he's there. Like, you can even run like this to cut off escape path. Right? So, even though it's like a slow push, you can still look for a gank, because his wave is really close to the tower. Right? And me, as a jungler, I'm thinking, okay, currently his wave is really close to the tower. I can probably look for a gank, because right now, GP, very often, laners are not going to be basing right now. Laners will always try to crash the wave, because if they don't crash the wave, they will lose farm, right? It's just how lane works. Like, they can't, like, laners can't base when, so imagine when Ezreal bases now, right? This is a slow push, this guy's going to lose more farm. Like, no one wants to base when a wave's like this in general. So, but anyway, his wave is like, I would say, Kisanta wave slow push towards GP, right? But here he's very vulnerable. I see his wave super close, which is why I'm sprinting towards top side. So, there's a Wolf Jesker here, we're fighting here. Sadly, he died. But I killed enemy team, so like not the worst. But I just want you guys to visualize that. Imagine that Rakan's not here, and my Kisanta waves like this, and Vi's top side. Guess what's gonna happen? This guy's probably gonna die. So, as a jungler, it's important to know when to cover and make a gank. So, in this case, if you know enemy junglers are on top side, let's say my golems are up, okay? It's very important to understand that, okay, let's say that wave right there, Kisanta really needs to crash. I'll probably ignore my golems. I'll probably just go behind here a bit, tell them to push, push, push. If enemy jungler is ganking, you counter gank, and you win. Usually, if you counter gank. Because if they initiate on your top lane, and as a jungler, you counter gank, usually you win. So, you should know which wave your laner needs you. So here, for example, let's say it's a normal laning phase, I would know that, judging from the wave, that my AD carry needs me on this wave. If I'm not there on that wave, if it was normal laning phase, my AD carry would lose all this farm, if there's no vision here. And he'll probably go for less and then die, right? So you might wonder, okay, Kiri, when is it actually good to gank? I'm just explaining you guys the basic fundamentals of how waves work, what slow pushes are, and what information that means for the enemy team, and for you, okay? So here I'll give a good example regarding ganks. And now I'm just gonna go to the practical examples, okay? So, before going for a gank, you need to first recognize, okay, what kind of wave is it, okay? Like slow push, neutral, bounce. So before you go for a gank, you have to know, okay, was CC or they're not a CC? And of course, think about summoners. That's important as well. You never go for a gank unless you think you can kill the enemy, okay? So look at this. It's neutral, bounce. Type of lane, have CC, no CC. Okay, think about summoners. Okay. And as well, gank conditions. Are they gankable? Look at wave state. Oh, what's this? Are they gankable? Look at wave state. Where are the wards? Can enemy jump counter gank? These are usually things I'm thinking about naturally, okay? So I'm gonna give you guys an example. So let's look at bot lane wave, okay? My bot lane wave just crashed the wave. The next wave didn't really crash. This is like barely, like it's still gonna be in the middle, right? Like if like maybe 3 more minions, it's gonna be a slow push from the enemy side, which means a bounce for us. Bounce like it's gonna bounce to us. Slow push is towards the enemy, but this is considered neutral. So right now it's neutral, okay? And I have a pink ward there, and I'm not sure if this is warded, so I'm putting a pink ward here, okay? So it's confirmed that there's no wards. So if you go back at the thing, are the gankable? Look at wave state. I looked at it, it was neutral. Where are the wards? No wards. Before a gank, I'm thinking if energy on counter ganks, you win. If yes, go. If no, farm. Type of wave state was neutral. Type of lane, we have CC, I'm Rek'Sai. And now just think about summoners. No summoners. In game, I knew that no summoners, okay? So the most important thing when you have recognized the wave state, have met all the conditions, the most important thing comes in the end execution. Remember this, okay? If you go for a gank, always gank when they go for a last hit. Imagine I'm playing Kai'Sa, okay? I'm like looking at his minion. This guy is not looking minimap and is looking at his minion. Like always go for when he's going for a minion, okay? And try to not ping on the way. A lot of junglers will make the mistake of pinging on the way here when they're not even close. This is enemy vision. You want to ping on the way the moment you're actually like being seen. Because imagine Ezra now starts walking up, okay, Majana, guess what? The first natural reaction is going to be right clicking behind. Right? So you as a jungler really want to ping on the way when it's like super good timing for you. And my bot lane kind of fucked up the way, but they started pushing a bit too fast. But anyway, like, as you can see, I'm going for when he's looking for last hit. My lanes are playing a bit back, so they feel a bit cocky. Imagine my Janel's positioned here, right? This guy will be positioned here, which means close to his tower, it will be hard to gank. So make sure that you ping on the way the moment you're behind enemy team, okay? So as you can see, this guy's like a little bit deep because my team was playing it correctly. They played a bit back, and I went for when he went for CS. So pay attention to his vision, okay? When he sees me. And they have no summoners. And just saying, this guy started walking a bit back, so others started hitting him, but you guys get the idea, right? So basically, you have to always look at the wave states and see how it is. I mean, here, he knocked me up the Rakan, and this gang shouldn't have worked because Rakan CC'd me. But do you guys get the idea of like how to basically think about the waves? And the really important part is that it's always going to be the same. Bounces, slow pushes, and how you can see those ganks. So I'm going to give you guys more examples, okay? Where, for example here, I'm going bot lane, so once I go bot, I really look at top lane like, oh fuck, how's top lane wave here? Like, I always look at the other side as well, making sure they don't die, because very often, imagine enemy POV, They see that I gank bot lane, I killed Rakan. Let's say, I don't know, top lane is slow push toward enemy team. Guess what? Fights are gonna go top. Make sure that you know how the waves are and where the enemy jungle is. If you see that the wave is bad, okay, and you know the enemy jungle is around that side, that's two things. Guess what? They're in danger. And if you want to carry games, believe it or not, your laners have to not die and feed the enemy jungler. If your jungler or enemy jungler is getting fed because your laners have a slow push and they're not thinking about enemy jungler and they die, guess what? It's hard to carry the games, right? So I have like different examples here as well. I have to find my clips though, but that's okay. So usually there will be some lanes where as well lane ganks are good actually. So you see it here, okay?
And it doesn't anymore. Pretty good here.
Here they're the full clear. This is like low-key a slow push, but here these means are pretty low. And I know in general this melee matchup, K'Sante Irelia, or imagine it's like a Fiora, Jax, whatever. Usually these champions will always jump in for trades, okay? And if you know these champions are going to jump for trades and waves kind of even, usually they're going to go past this mini line just to trade, right? So I know that it's a pretty volatile matchup. So in those lanes usually, if it's even and you can get in the second bush, or let's say it's slow pushes towards you, let's say this wave coming towards me, you can wait in the bush for like 10 seconds and their wave will be bad and it'll be gankable. So this is when I go for lane ganks when conditions are basically volatile matchup a bit, waves even or slow pushes towards me. If this will be a slow push towards the enemy, that means I'm just covering for a push out. For him to just push the wave and base, and I just keep farming. That's just how League works. Instead of overforcing a gank. Usually I don't gank on slow pushes because I just cover for if they might get ganked. Because, you know, if you want to gank on when a wave is close to your tower, right? The enemy probably wants to cover. Because if they don't, laners are dead, right? So here, for example, you see this K'Sante's like walking up past the minion line. You see, he's walking past it and he dies here. Of course, these ganks only work if you can get in the second bush, usually in general. That's like one example. Okay, so there's another example where okay, here you guys should really watch the video if you haven't, but anyway, I'm gonna mute it. So imagine this, okay? Just don't take the context video. So imagine that my Lucianami is dead, okay? This guy's alone on the tower here, alright? And this, sorry, not on the tower, but he's here. And you see where the next wave is, okay? The next wave is right here, you see? So in general, have you ever seen someone not push this next wave and just base right here? No, right? Like, imagine my laners are dead. Ezreal, let's say, is alone here. So his support has died, okay? And enemy jungler is not here. Let's say enemy jungler is just farming. You know where he is, okay? Every single laner is gonna push the next wave to not lose a 6 CS. So they get the most farm, don't lose farm, and a lot of laners are gonna int. They're gonna always agree to push out the wave completely. And this is what you can do as jungler. Knowing that if this guy wants to push out the wave, and let's say Gromp is up, you're like, if you take the Gromp, it'll be too late, right? But if you skip the Gromp and go bot, you'll for sure make the time because he cannot crash the wave in 2 seconds. So this is another way how you can recognize when the laner is going for the wave or not, which is that if the next wave is coming, okay, so sadly I'm explaining a bit. But if you can see that the wave is coming here, sorry, not here. Like here on bot lane, just look bot lane here. That Ezreal needs to push one more wave, and that one more wave, he is gonna stay, okay? So you can skip a Gromp, go for this kill, and you're playing jungle, usually kill the enemy ADK level 3. So this is how we can know that enemy lanes are gankable. So here's a clip where I show that like I'm low-key covering, because here's the thing. My Fiora needs to push out, right? A wave's really close to his tower. Let's say if enemy jungler decides to go top lane, this guy can't farm till he crashes the wave, honestly. Because he's gonna lose minions, because you see these 5 minions against 3 minions. So he needs help, and I know that he needs help. In this case as well, I know I can kill. My Fiora is a bit doomed, but I know that Gwen is probably gonna all in. So that's why I'm gonna be here behind. And it's really important to know when your lanes actually need you, basically. Because if you know when they need you, or when they don't need you, you can be efficient, and your laners won't die. And as well, you can look for opportunities, right? And it's very important to just know how waves work. And if you do understand that, the games become a lot easier. So, wait, 1 second. Where's the clippies? Oh, it's here. So, hopefully after this lesson you have learned basically wave state if it's a slow push and when you're needed. Usually if lanes are last hitting and if it's a slow push, it takes 2 waves for you to be that you have to be there. 2 waves, okay? If you're not behind them and they have no wards, they might die. Alright? So in some games as well, you might wonder, hey Kirei, whether should I gank or not? So I talked about no CC is CC, right? So in this case, we have no CC on bot lane, but I have CC. So this gank works. But imagine I'm a Talon or something, or a Kha'Zix, this gank's never gonna work, right? So if I have a Nautilus and I'm playing Talon, this gank might work. But that's only because, as well, they have no summoners, okay? Imagine they have summoners, okay? And we have CC, but the wave state is in the middle here. Worst case, they're gonna burn their flesh, and they will survive. That is not good. So usually, if enemy has summoners and the wave is in the even, and let's say the enemy has summoners, usually I don't go for a gank unless I'm sure that's like a Nautilus and I'm gonna hook in or something. But if the wave stays even and if summoners, usually it's pretty hard to gank, right? So when I do look for ganks when the wave's like here, let's say the minions are here, okay? And then enemy team is trying to last hit from here. And then if I'm from behind, then yes, they're gonna die even with summoners. So before all this, of course, I have to think, okay, are they gankable? If the wave is that close to my tower, yes. Where are the wards? Well, if you show a ward, it kind of sucks. And can JG Countergank. So one thing as well I have to highlight though is that, imagine I go for this gank though, okay? I think I'll show it in this video. Yes, okay. Basically, if you go for a gank, don't walk like this, please. Like, if enemies like hitting here, don't walk like this. What you want to be doing is like hugging the wall. I mean, you can't see it, right? But like, you want to be really hugging the wall and walk like this. Because it'll be like this. You walk like this, Ezreal walks like this. You meet him. You walk like this. Kind of awkward, right? So always try to like walk behind enemy team. And don't walk like this. Like, some junglers even walk like this, you know? But in the end, they're trying to like get there, right? And you don't want to walk like this. You just want to walk straight in their face, okay? When you look for ganks as well. So that's how you can look for ganks. And remember, guys, you only ping on the way the moment that you are almost being seen, or when you want the lanes to walk up. A lot of junglers, including you, I'm sure of it, when you go for a gank, right now you're pinging on the way, I'm on the way. Some of you guys are doing it. Don't do that. You want to ping on the way when you're about to show and really close, okay? So your lanes are not going to make it obvious. Because you see, when Ezreal walks up, this guy's going to start walking back. Just pay attention. He didn't even see me, but he just saw Ezreal press W and everything, and he just sensed it, right? So, basically, what you guys have to write down is, are they gankable? Look at wave states, where are the wards, and a tip for where are the wards. Make sure that let's say you're pathing top to bot, you always look at minimap and look if they're putting wards in the river or where they're putting wards. Because if you have champions like Rek'Sai, Kha'Zix that can jump over walls, you can still gank them, okay? And of course you have to think, can JG Countergank do in 3-3? If you apply all of these things in your own games, with all the lessons previously learned, you will be able to kill laners. And remember, don't go for ganks if you can't kill them, okay? So now you should know how to, or when you should be on the wave, okay? When you can look for ganks. And basic decisions based around waves, basically. Alright? The next lesson will be about basically when to farm and when to gank, okay? Which is very important as well. But anyway, I'll see you guys around in the next video, and adios, amigos.